The city began to whisper its cold rumors into the dark corners of the night. The Deem had been discovered by his private security detail exactly 4 hours after I left the facility, positioned on the cold floor, his lower limbs completely unresponsive. The chief medical officers told his billionaire father, Arkady, that the procedure was a terrifying surgical anomaly. Whoever had conducted the intervention knew the exact coordinates of the neural pathways to guarantee absolute permanent immobility without causing fatal systemic hemorrhage. The upper echelons of the city were slowly realizing that they were not dealing with an ordinary street criminal or an emotional amateur. They were dealing with a ghost who operated with a textbook of human anatomy in his mind. But Boris did not believe in ghosts. He operated on a much more primitive biological frequency. He believed exclusively in his own fists and physical mass. 240 pounds of dense, packed muscle tissue and reinforced bone structure. He was a heavyweight boxing champion whose entire career was financed by corrupt sports cartels, and his private acts of violence were systematically erased from the precinct archives by his mother, Elena, using her immense political influence in the city council. Boris believed that his physical parameters made him a king who could take whatever he wanted from the weak. He failed to understand a basic mechanical rule: the larger the engine, the more critical the fuel line. To address a profile like Boris, I had to completely alter my tactical methodology. You cannot approach a trained, aggressive beast from the same vector as a spoiled child. During the daylight hours, he was always surrounded by a protective buffer of coaches, handlers, and sycophants who fed his massive ego. His entire life was a loud, chaotic celebration of raw, physical dominance. But every biological organism, no matter how aggressive, has a specific point of absolute isolation. I began to analyze his training schedule and the architectural layout of his facility. It was an old, heavy concrete structure located near the industrial port area, closed to the general public. Boris had a specific psychological tic that I isolated during my observation. He absolutely despised training when others were watching his moments of physical exhaustion. He stayed late into the night, long after the staff had locked the main security doors, using his personal key to re-enter the central ring. He wanted to look like a machine that required zero sleep, an invincible entity. He was running a fast, desperate race against his own physical limits, completely unaware that I was already sitting at the finish line, holding the timer. I spent 48 hours monitoring the building's electrical outputs from my vehicle. At exactly midnight, the lights in the office block went dark, leaving only the massive halogen array illuminated directly above the central boxing ring. The stage was set. The subject was inside the ring, completely isolated from his infrastructure. Before I reveal the exact scientific details of how I executed the next extraction inside that empty gym, I have a serious question for you, the audience. If the state authorities completely rejected your family's tragedy and protected wealthy predators with fake alibis, how far would you go to find justice? Would you accept the systemic defeat, or would you take the absolute law into your own hands like I did? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments section right now, and let's see how many of you would choose the surgeon's path. If you want to know what happens next in this clinical operation of revenge, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss the next episode. And remember, the full, complete story is already available on my second channel, the Red Vigilante. Stay safe, and see you in the next part.